conversations around leadership, they are not interesting as they are not as interesting as the first session you had. So, but it is fundamental if anything good is going to come out of your life, or if it's going to come out of your business, or if it's going to come out of whatever you do. Now, the beautiful thing about leadership is that it is a conversation that is compulsory. The reason why some of us are fed up with engineering is because it's a leadership problem. The reason why some of us want to leave Nigeria is a leadership problem. Somebody led well somewhere and it has become something you like. So whether you like it or not, you see all these things Doctor was talking about, how he manages his wife and everything, is a leadership issue. And the moment you begin to understand that, it gives you the privilege to begin to build real influence, because it's easier to convert influence to income. I repeat, it is easier to convert influence to income than to convert income to influence. So if you look at somebody like Tony Elumelu, for example, he has all the money, but he's trying to build real influence with young people. He does not need to snap picture. Because everywhere, he has companies every corner. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to wear big shoes. He doesn't have to wear baggy jeans. He doesn't have to do anything. Why? He is extremely successful. By nature, we are all attracted to successful people. But to be attracted is not influence. He wants to get to a place where if he makes a statement, something can change. How many of you remember what happened to Netflix last month? Elon Musk just, hey, do not subscribe. Because they are doing a lot of gay things that are affecting our children. And in 48 hours, they're not going to be doing it. In 24 hours, he didn't apologize, he didn't shout, he tweeted once. He didn't come back the next day to retweet. That's influence. How many of you remember 10 years ago, I was actually in New York, a company made a statement against Rihanna. And then Rihanna said, with a tweet, how if you uninstall? If you are my fan, uninstall this app. And the company lost 60 billion. That's influence. Did they give us money? I'm even sure some Nigerians didn't subscribe. I did subscribe. I don't know who's quarreling with me. I subscribe. You have to give me something to have. Or you just wake up in the morning and tell me not to do something and I'll follow you and do it. So that's different. So imagine one thing. Just imagine one thing. BSI made something up in Onitsha after creating some level of tangible influence. And he says, because I have looked into the electoral act and it's not favorable, I am calling everybody that answers me not to come out for election. And then from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., no young person is at the voting booth. Where do you think the government will like? To his house. If the government does not go, DSS will go. But something is going to happen today because he has altered the narrative. It happens. And that's why it's important that you build tangible influence. I want to say this again. I hope you know the person with the portfolio or the person with the position or the person with the title does not necessarily be the one with the influence.
Yes.
There are middle-level managers that executive directors are afraid of. There are security men that can decide if your life is going to move forward or oil is going to go backward. I used to do contracts for the state government and federal government many years ago before I retired. I resigned and came into public space. A gate man, a cleaner, has carried fire and went to keep away. Because we have not been shaping what. And one day I don't know whether it's the Holy Spirit or what. I just wanted to be nice. I just came out and I said, wait. I've been ignoring you since you, because I just entered and got to commission anyhow I like. And from Jesus, I just said, don't worry, to put everything will change. In my mind, cleaner, everything will change. Of course, when I came to God, my friend was out. What they were looking for a long time was they were not looking for it, because when he brought it out, he didn't keep it in shelf. He dropped it on the table. He's quick to see. What do you think I did when I was going again? I spent time. So that's your family. Are okay? No, you are not okay. In case I come back in another year. I used to work for a manufacturing company. I enjoy the fact that you don't have to be in top always, but you have to be considered every time. It's very powerful. It's very powerful. So today I want us to look at strategic leadership, which is basically a type of leadership. And but it's going to be important if I intentionally have this conversation for like 10 minutes of generally what leadership is around. Now, I said leadership is influence because that's what John Maxwell defined it as. And John Maxwell certified, so basically simply his theology is what I'm running on. And so, if leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing else, it simply means as long as you don't have effect on people to get them to do what you want, you do not have, or you are not doing. If people are afraid of you because you are the one paying their salary, it doesn't make you a leader. Because the day you stop paying their salary, you see something. So it's okay to be a boss, but it's better to be a boss that is a leader. So if you have a business here, you have to begin to treat it differently from now. I'll take you as an example because we're recording. The person, I give the example, the person sees it, you know I'm talking about A. So it obviously that's very dangerous. So I will use that example. So as I'm talking, another example will come from something. Now, the word leadership simply means relationship. The word leadership simply means what? How many of you know that any word that ends with ship is a relationship? That's its real meaning. For example, mentor, apprentice, leader. Any word that ends with ship is a relationship. That's the original meaning of that word. Meaning, no leadership works effectively except the relationship is established. And what that means is that relationship is the permission the people give you to lead them. Just like voting is the permission you give a governor to lead you. When you vote, you give a permission. So in leadership, entering a relationship to apply for a job in a company is me willingly submitting myself to the led. Follow me carefully. Relationship makes leadership effective. You cannot lead people who don't trust you. And if you hear what I'm going to be saying, you will attract those words, you will find out that they are related to relationships. I was trying to scan a book outside and I saw one statement and I just immediately had to buy it. The statement was simple. All problems in this world are interpersonal problems. And it caught my attention. Because I have found out in life that all problems are human related. There's no gun problem. There's no money problem. There's no knife problem. No knife stood up from the table and stabbed the husband. It was a wife that took it. No gun left the shop, crawled into a school, and shot went to them. One psycho went and bought it. If you don't get this thing right in your mind, you will actually be assuming some things are problems that are not problems in your life.
Yes.
All problems are human problems. No girl has broken her heart by herself. If you don't fall in love, you can't have that. Two of us. Money no loss. First in the carrier. But I saw a manager say, this is what we used to do when I saw that's not looking for money. One of us told it. What is the money they water? I said, not all of us. You think you come out. And what that simply means, it's also a leadership problem. Why? Because relationship problems are leadership problems. So, what are the words I want you to pay attention to before I start talking strategic leadership? I was privileged to run a business for several years. Because what I'm doing now is basically, I'm not really running a business. I just build a structure where I can have passive income so I don't sleep for money. Or so I'm not stranded when I want to sleep. So that if you invite me and you're not going to pay me, and I want to come, I can come. So I'm not dependent on your power to come. I'm depending on my charity to come. And if I say you should pay me, you also have to pay me. Because now I'm working. So that's what I do now. But basically, you must understand that your business is at the mercy of what you know. All the business you are doing, I don't know the kind of business you are doing, but it is first at the mercy of what you know. Then it is at the mercy of who you know. Either your ignorance is affecting your business, or your lack of connections is affecting your business, or lack of people is affecting you. But one of these things is the reason why you are really looking for something to make your business better. Do you know I didn't want to hire your own for me? Do you know I didn't want to hire your own for me? You try and work well. What kind of hiring is that? It's not attention. And you know in Nigeria, we do hiring as a result of family relationships, of food, and not as crazy as doctor. As crazy as doctor. But if you continue that way, you and the people you are trying to do. Because a poor person can never help a poor person. The both of them have the same problem. The same problem. Imagine you fell inside a river and you cause, and some of you bring people in your life that are quickly your funeral. Some people enter relationships that is the bedrock of their destruction. Four things I like to say about leadership generally before I talk strategic leadership is leadership is first defining. Write that down. Leadership is first about what? Defining. What do you define? One, vision. It's not the job of your staff to define where they are going because their idea is not theirs. It's dangerous for people under you to give idea of the destiny of where you are living back. You must own a vision to create an organization. when the people come, they should bring ideas on how to push the organization forward. But where the organization is going should come from you. Why? The eyes is on the head. If you see anybody with eyes on the neck, what would you do? Or somebody remove shirt, you say, "I never." You will run. You know, monsters don't always have two heads. They just have eyes at the back or nose in the chest. Define vision. And strategic leadership is about vision. Why? Because strategic leadership is simply how you are able to move people towards achieving a vision in the long term. And I love the way Doctor started. He started by discussing businesses that have lasted very long. In Africa, they say the lifespan of most businesses are less than 60 years. But he was telling us the business that was, I Googled it. The business was, there was one of the business he mentioned, it was 75 something. And the business is
500 years.
And the businesses are like, meaning the business has transcended lineage, generations. Actually, the children running the business now do not know the person that started the business. Because it's their great grandfather. And we in Nigeria, if you don't train your child well, your child will just come back from Europe and you got the business to what he thinks it should look like. Not all of us are going to send our children to Europe. I hope you know that. Yes. I hope you know that.
Yes.
So whether your child goes to Europe to school, or your child goes to America to school, or your child schools in Aba, one thing is sure, turn up a child in the way he should go. It's an instruction, it's not a foreign one. Not a foreign instruction. First thing to define is what? Vision. Because strategic leadership is our vision. Number two, define values. If you walk into any great company, the first thing you see on the wall is their vision, then the next thing you see is their what? Their values. Vision and mission are together. Vision is where you are headed. Mission is how you plan to get there. That's what that means. But I'm worried about establishing vision, then the next thing you establish is what? Values. Why? Because it is values that give birth to culture. And it is culture that sustains business. Because strategies must always change, but culture must never change. That's why a white man said that culture will always beat strategy any day, any time. He actually puts it like this, that culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's values that gives us culture. Let me give you just a tip on how to pick your friends. If you want to pick your friends so that in 10 years you don't have to cut the friend off, don't pick the friend, pick a value system. Any friend that follows you because of a value system, because the value system does not change, your relationship will change. But if you pick a friend that has a different value system, they are going to do New Year resolution. You know what New Year resolution is? This year, I'm not going to be close to PSI. PSI is very wicked. If you are used to doing that, you are a bad person. The reason why you are a bad person is that you don't like yourself. That's why you keep choosing things you have to cut off. You are cutting people as if you are cutting cancer. Big values. Once our values don't align, we should not be friends. It's okay, we should be acquaintance. You know what acquaintance is? We know ourselves, we don't need ourselves. Your problem is you need everybody. Do you know some enemies are better than some acquaintance? Because there's an enemy that will go and advertise you, there's a friend that will not. If he push you forward, you will look too great, but there's an enemy that is pushing you forward because he wants to kill you, or he's putting you out there. They saw Joseph, they didn't know they were positioning Joseph. Sometimes anger is useful, but let it not be your own. Let somebody get angry and do something for you. You know, there's somebody that can go and talk to somebody about something, and as he's talking to the person about something, the person will ask him an intelligent question, Daddy. And then when he answers that intelligent question concerning you, the person will now know that there is no relationship with who you came to kill and the statement you are making.
Yes.
Yes, many times when people talk about you, as long as you are not what they are saying, you should not be afraid. Define visions and define values. You don't go everywhere. You shouldn't eat everything. The Bible says when you sit before a rich man, put a knife in your throat. Why? Nothing destroys relationship like habits. You know, I'm still talking about leadership as a relationship. Nothing destroys relationship like what? Habits. Tell your neighbor, define your vision and define your values. Number two, very important thing when we have leadership conversation is decide structure. And I want to say something very simple. Anytime you go for a business meeting and they say businesses succeed because of structure, what usually comes to your mind is organogram. From us. But an organogram means something else. An organogram is English. What really is an organogram? What really is a business structure? It's simply the arrangement of relationship in a space. That's a structure. How do you arrange relationships and responsibility? That's what the structure means. Who is what and who does? That's a structure. You're concerned about the diagram. I'm seeing you. No, it's how do you arrange? It can be big, it can be flat. Is that what they taught us in normal group? So decide the structure you're going to use. Meaning what? Decide how the relationship in the organizations are going to work. I went to play training somewhere. And after I did the training, you know, I trained a lot of people. So they decided that evening after the training, they wanted to go and hang out. And I was trying to understand what the hangout means. And the hangout was they were going to go to a club. So they asked me if I was going, I said, don't go to clubs. I used to watch clubs. So I don't go to clubs. I don't drink. I don't really dance. I like women, that's why I'm not gay. But I'm married. So I'm at a disadvantage. So, because I'm at a disadvantage, I have to be leveraging on what is my. So I said, I'm not going. So they laughed. So they went. But I kept asking myself, now if me and the people I'm with have to have the same vices, you don't have that. If we have the same vices, I have punctured my capacity gradually. There are certain things if I say, don't do like it. We'll fix up the Friday. When we go, and I began to see it happen. And I told him again, I said, stop going to club with your staff. Besides, when you go to club with your staff, they're the ones spending the $1 million per night. They're not looking at you as if you're intelligent. They just know you care for them for a season. There are certain things we do with our staff. It looks as if you're a loving boss. You're a fish. No when foolishness is in game. You think you're almost after a or that putting from Friday, you just say, how many of you are free? How many of you here are free? Let's meet here by 6. We'll use all my cars and go to Cubana. Just outside. You're not an entertainer. You're a businessman. You're a businesswoman. You're building something that somebody else will look at it and say, because of you, I will become something. Relationships in the organization. Who is the boss? Who instructs you? Number 3, like determine responsibility. Every relationship determines responsibility. What you are supposed to do is based on what you are, how connected you are. Relationships should determine responsibility. So determine responsibility. I'm just taking it step by step on a general leadership conversation. But because leadership talks can be a little bit heavy. and they can be tiring. And I try to just simplify it. So you define visions, you decide relationships, then you determine responsibility. And then the last thing I want to say before I start talking strategic leadership as I tie up is develop capacities. Remember I said, if you are the only one who knows the organization is being invaded. There is no wisdom in only you knowing. That's why exposing your people to learning is important. That's why training your people is important. One of the executives of Upright City yesterday said, I know what going for training did to me. So yesterday I brought my staffs. I paid for them. Why? What he's doing is developing capacity. Why? They are beginning to know certain things that he knows. So they'll be able to perform at a certain level. Ignorant people are not useful. They are not productive. Ignorant no they want. Develop your people. When I started the winning mindset, I was mocked. Yes, everybody laughed. We will see how you take over the city. Because, like Doctor said, I kept declaring every family in this town will have a follower that is me. Mothers will stop me in the marketplace and tell me thank you. Mothers will see me in church and tell me thank you. I will enter supermarket and somebody will pay. I kept saying it. I will build an unusual influence. The state government will know me. I will still want to respond to them. I kept doing it, and in 5 years it began to happen.